Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an Insight, Episode 148. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan Brother, telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, we are at the core of the 27th chapter of Sri Sai Satcharitra that elucidates the beautiful divine sport of Sri Sai Baba in giving the Vishnu Sahasranama to his most ardent devotee, Shama. Though Shama was never inclined to take it, Sri Sai Baba forced it and graced him. Shama was reluctant to receive it as that belonged to the Ramadasi, and Sri Sai Baba enacted a drama to get that Vishnu Sahasranama from Ramadasi as he wants to pass it on to Shama. Shama thought that Sri Sai Maharaj is doing this to get him in trouble with the Ramadasi, the ill-tempered person. Shama couldn't contemplate the significance behind the sport of Sri Sai Baba. Sri Sai Baba had a very special place for Shama in his heart. Hence, he wanted to give the greatest treasure to Shama, which, when chanted, even unintentionally, would free him from the shackles of life. The Lord's name, being the purest, will refine our souls and would pull out all the ill desires from the roots. Many saints have adopted this method to uplift their devotees. Unless we recall the glory of Vishnu Sahasranama, we cannot comprehend the reason behind this divine sport of Sri Sai Baba. Some of us might even think why the book has to be taken from the Ramadasi and given to Shama. Why can't Sri Sai Baba himself give another book of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama to Shama? But devotees, Sri Sai Maharaj's ways are unfathomable. If Sri Sai Baba would have given this book like any other scriptures, then the Vishnu Sahasranama would have also found a comfortable place in the home of Shama along with other books, and he would have read it at his convenience. He might have not understood its significance, but here, as Sri Sai Baba enacted a drama by lodging a fight between Ramadasi and Shama for the sake of imparting the greatness of chanting Sri Vishnu Sahasranama, this made a greater impact in the mind of Shama, and Sri Sai Baba made his pronouncement so profound that it would etch the heart of Shama and all those who were present there. In the later days, Shama did realize the greatness of chanting these divine verses, and he became well versed in chanting it with proper connotations without even referring to the book. In the coming episodes, I will give you an account of the devotees that helped him to learn these great verses, says Ramanathan Brother. Many saints have sung the glory of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama and the benefits of chanting it. In the great epic Mahabharata, mention is made of three literatures. First one is Sanat Sujadiya. This book narrates the knowledge communicated by Sanat Sujata on various subjects, he being one of the Kumaras of Lord Brahma to the king Dhritarashtra who possessed the attributes of Tamoguna. Hence, this book is termed as Sanat Sujadiya or Sanat Kumara Gita. Next comes Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which expounds the Upadesh given by the Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna, who possessed the attributes of Rajoguna. Finally, Bhishma sang the glory of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, who have the attributes of Sattvaguna, and the compilation of those verses is known as Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. Thus, it is believed that these three texts have been provided in Mahabharata that would befit those who possess the respective attributes. It may not be appropriate to say that Lord Sri Krishna possesses Sattvaguna because Lord is regarded as Gunatītar, which means the one who has surpassed the attributes of all the gunas. But as Sattvaguna is termed as the greatest among all others, that has been used in this context to refer to the attributes of the Lord. Sri Vishnu Sahasranama was sung in praise of the Lord Krishna in his presence by Bhishma lying on the bed of arrows as an answer to the questions raised by Yudhishthira at the Kurukshetra war. So the Lord himself listened and acknowledged it. It is believed that there were only 2 hymns that were sung directly in the presence of the Lord and was accepted by him. The second one was Sriman Narayaniyam. This was composed by Narayana Bhattatri. He had a severe attack of paralysis and when taken to the Guruvayurappan temple for cure, there he was directed to sing devotional hymns on the Lord that has taken the incarnation of fish. Accordingly, Narayana Bhattatri composed 1 dasakam every day and each dasakam consists of 10 verses. Legend says that on the 100th day, he had a vision of the Lord and rendered a graphic description of this form, after which Narayana Bhattatri was immediately cured of his disease. It is believed that while he sang the hymns, the Lord acknowledged it by nodding his head, and as he shook his head, the beautiful ear studs on his ears too swung gently, which was a divine sight to behold. I have a personal connection to Sri Vishnu Sahasranama and the Leela of Sri Sai Baba that testifies that Sri Sai Baba has accepted my chanting. One fine day, when I was doing my Sri Sai Satcharitra Parayan, I read the words articulated by our Sri Sai Maharaj to Shama that, "Oh Shama, this book is very valuable and efficacious, so I present it to you. You read it." Once I suffered intensely and my heart began to palpitate and my life was in danger. At that critical time, I hugged this book to my heart and then, Shama, what a relief it gave me. I thought that Allah himself came down and saved me. So I give this to you. You read it slowly, little by little, and read daily 1 name at least, and it will do you good. These words pierced my heart and felt that they are not only professed by our Sadguru Sri Sai to Shama, but to me as well. So, from that day, I started learning Sri Vishnu Sahasranama by listening to the audio and with the aid of the book. Our whole family also learned to chant the verses. Though I chanted it, always had a desire that I should get an indication from Sri Sai Baba that he has accepted my reading. After many years of my chanting in the recent past, when we had been to Shiradi for darshan, one morning I sat in the Samadhi Mandir hall on the raised platform which is close to the Mukdarshan entrance and took my Sri Vishnu Sahasranama book to chant. Just then, another gentleman who was also seated there spoke to me and said he wished to join me in chanting. So we both chanted it together. After we completed it, the gentleman thanked me for sharing the book and introduced himself and said that he was a professor and owing to his interest and devotion, he has chanted and released audio tapes on Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. I was taken aback and wondered what if my chanting was not proper. But before this thought was complete, the gentleman acknowledged that my chanting was perfect. I felt so happy as I got this appreciation in the holy soil of Shirdi in the presence of Sri Sai Maharaj at Samadhi Mandir. I took his leave and prostrated to Sri Sai Maharaj. When I was about to exit the Samadhi Mandir complex, lo, the pujari came towards us with an arati plate and another plate of sandal paste distributed to all of us. In fact, that was not even arati time. Marveling at the grace of our most merciful Sri Sai Maharaj, I came out of the hall and speaking heart to Sri Sai Maharaj thus, Baba, did you listen to my chanting? Should I take the gentleman's appreciation as of yours? In no time, I was walking by the small window from where devotees get a glimpse of Sri Sai at Samadhi Mandir. And as I proceeded towards the Gurusthan, the place was crowded with devotees, but in the midst of so many, I suddenly noticed a tall person in white clothes walking straight towards me and gave me a packet of woody. I didn't even realize what was happening. He never spoke a word to me. I was dumbstruck, and before I could comprehend, he disappeared. I tried to look everywhere, but he was found nowhere. Tears of joy gushed out of my eyes. Who else that could be other than our most compassionate Sri Sai Baba, who walked in front of me in human form to acknowledge my chanting by giving his holy Udi as prasad. I submitted my humble prostrations at the holy feet at Gurusthan and pleaded his mercy to be showered upon us ever. Usually, the Bijakshara mantras is that in which the seed letter or the root letter has the latent power of a mantra. These mantras can be chanted only when it is initiated by a guru. But Namavalis such as Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam, Sri Lalita Sahasranamam, Ashtotarams and Stotrams, which are termed as Shanti Mantra, doesn't have such restriction to chant. Hence, if a devotee makes any mistakes while chanting the Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam, they need not fear as some catastrophe will befall on them, because Sahasranama is inherently powerful and it sings the glory of the Lord. So, when one sings His glory, the most merciful Lord will forgive and redeem him irrespective of the mistakes made while chanting, as the Lord appreciates the loving devotion of the devotee. Let us listen to an interesting story in this connection. A person was chanting Sri Vishnu Sahasranama, and one of the verses says, Padmanabho Amaraprabhu, which means Lord Vishnu is depicted as the head of all immortals, whereas The layman split the word and chanted as Padmanabho Maraprabhu, which means the Lord is the head of all trees. One day, a scholar who was passing by heard this layman chant and immediately intervened and corrected the pronunciation. That same night, Lord Sri Vishnu appeared in the dream of the scholar and in a fierce tone said that the layman was not at fault in chanting his name as Maraprabhu because in Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam there is a term which reads Vanani Vishnu, meaning forest or form of Vishnu. So the Lord questioned if he is in the form of entire forest, is he not the Prabhu of trees? The scholar realized his folly and the Lord also instructed him to beg his pardon from the layman. This shows the compassion of the Lord on his devotees. He is fond of his devotees and look forward to embracing them irrespective of what they are. Hence, we can always learn it in the right way and try our best to chant it correctly. But the loving devotion is what is appreciated by the Lord and not mere formal chanting. Hence, let us chant without worrying about the repercussions. Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji also mentions about the beliefs of Sri Sai Baba on Sri Vishnu Sahasranama in his work. When we refer to the 963rd Sri Sai Baba Sahasranamavali penned by Swamiji, it says, Om Sahasranama Vishwasine Namaha. That is, the one who had faith in Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. This reflects that Sri Sai Baba always regarded Sri Vishnu Sahasranama as the greatest to him and suggested for chanting the same. It is said that chanting Vishnu Sahasranama is equivalent to doing penance. Let me quote the hymns sung by Bhudatarvar, one of the 12 Arvar saints of South India, and the verses compiled by the Arvars are known as Nalayira Divya Prabandham. Bhudatarvar is considered second in the list of the three principal Arvars. In the 8th Tirumozhi, he sings the glory of Vishnu Sahasranama thus: Urungandai Nannenje Uttaman Narpadam Urungandai One Kamalan Tannal Urungandai Yethip Panindavan Per Irinar Epoludum Satriuraithal Davam. Commentary. His feet will come of their own accord. Know if, O heart, the lotus dam Lakshmi's grace too will accrue of its own accord. Even the penance of reciting his 1,000 names with worship and praise will accrue of its own accord. The significance of chanting Sri Vishnu Sahasranama is baffling. Even one utters it not knowing its meaning, he gains tremendous benefits. While giving Sri Vishnu Sahasranama to Shama, Sri Sai also divulged to Shama and all others present there that constantly chanting the Lord's name, that is Namasmaran, or continuously singing His glory with firm faith and devotion will take the devotee closer to the Lord, as the person's mind is cleansed by constant remembrance of the Lord, and when it becomes pure, knowledge dawns and he begins to serve the Lord. When one provides service to the Lord, all the sins that have been accumulated by them from the previous births will vanish and the recitation will grant them greater merits. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa always said there is infinite glory in God's name, and if a man who has committed many sins in his past birth repeats the name of God, then he can be redeemed and all the sins piled up as that of a mountain, would turn to ashes the moment he chants the Lord's name, as that will act as a spark and a fire and burn the pile of sins in no time. It is said that one can attain samadhi after practicing severe austerities throughout many lives. But Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa proved that it could also be attained by chanting the Lord's name. He further says, chanting the Lord's name is the last treatment for a dying person. Likewise, in Lalita Sahasranamam, the verses Paparanya Davanala means she who is the forest fire that destroys the forest of sin. Hemant Panji continues to expound the pronouncements of Sri Sai Maharaj to Shama on chanting the Lord's names. Sri Sai Baba says, chanting the Lord's name breaks the shackles of the body, humbles the pride of death, and ends the cycle of birth and death. So, even if my Shama is not interested to accept it, owing to his ignorance and fear of anger of the Ramadasi, I would force it upon him as I love him the most. Sri Sai decrees that there is no other simpler means to purify the inner self other than chanting the Lord's name. It is the adornment of the tongue. There is no need to purify one's body to chant the holy name of the Lord. Continuous chanting will ferry one across the ocean of existence, and no other means is necessary to achieve salvation. Some people might wonder, how can the loads of sins that have been accumulated in the past lives be annihilated instantly by merely chanting the name of the Lord? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa quotes an instance here. Suppose a light is brought into a room that has been dark 1,000 years. Does it illumine the room little by little or all in a flash? Similarly, the pile of sins which has been accumulated from the previous births will get vanished the moment a person begins to chant the name of the Lord, which is like the light brought into the dark room. There is another analogy connected to this situation. A bunch of crows might swarm together to eat the food kept for them, and if one small stone is thrown at them, they will all fly and vanish from sight. Here, the crows are compared to the various sins one might have committed in their past births, and when the Lord's name is chanted by him, which is related to the stone, it vanishes all the sins in no time. There is no need to throw one stone for each crow, but just one small stone will chase away all the crows. Likewise, one name of the Lord chanted with loving devotion will eradicate all the sins of the person. Sri Sai Maharaj utters that whoever frequently repeats my name, I consider him more virtuous than the virtuous. So, the ultimate reason behind this divine sport of Sri Sai is to portray the glory of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama and the benefits of chanting the Lord's name to Shama. Thus, he forced the book into Shama's hands. These are absolutely no restrictions for chanting the Lord's names. Anyone is free to chant the name of the Lord at any time, anywhere. Whereas scriptures lay some restrictions for chanting certain Vedic mantras and list down the rituals to be followed while chanting them. No such limitations are there for chanting the holy name of the Lord. Kabir says, Haath mein kaam, dil mein Ram, which means do whatever work you are assigned to in this worldly life, but while doing it, chant the God's name eternally. Now, a question may arise. if mechanically repeating the Lord's name grant liberation? Here is the answer for this question from Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Once a devotee by name Goswami spoke thus: Sir, the chanting of God's name is enough. The scriptures emphasize the sanctity of God's name for the Kali Yuga. Master, yes, there is no doubt about the sanctity of God's name. But can a mere name achieve anything without the earning love of the devotee behind it? One should feel great restlessness of soul for the vision of God. Suppose a man repeats the name of God mechanically while his mind is absorbed in women and gold, can he achieve anything? Suppose a man becomes pure by chanting the holy name of God, but immediately afterwards commits many sins. He has no strength of mind. He doesn't take a vow not to repeat his sins. A bath in the Ganges undoubtedly absolves one of all sins. But what does that avail? They say that the sins perch on the trees along the bank of the Ganges. No sooner does the man come back from the holy waters than the old sins jump on his shoulders from the trees. The same old sins take possession of him again. He is hardly out of the water before they fall upon him. Therefore, I say, chant the name of God and with it pray to Him that you may have love for Him. Pray to God that your attachment to such transitory things such as wealth, name, and creature comforts may become less and less every day. So, devotees, the purport being that one must have good attitude and loving devotion towards the Lord while chanting His holy name. When one repeats the name of the Lord with the unswerving faith and love for Him, then liberation is certain. It is said that there are 4 yugas called Kreta, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, and for each yuga a dharma is associated. For Kali Yuga, the dharma or the occupational duty of the people is to chant the holy name of the Lord. The Brihanaradiya Purana states, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Naimava Kevalam, Kalau Naste Eva Naste, Eva Naste Eva Gatir Anyata. Kali Yuga is full of quarrel and hypocrisy, so for spiritual progress, there is no alternative to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. So, this is the most auspicious and the easiest process to attain God, and the same has been professed by our Sadguru Sri Sainath Maharaj to Shama. So, are you all curious to know what was the reaction of the Ramadasi when he came back to Dwarakamai after buying cenopods for Sri Sai Baba? We shall listen to those interesting scenes of the divine sport in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.